The Mongolian People's Party is the oldest political party in Mongolia. The party's ideology is currently social democracy, and was previously Marxism-Leninism. The party is abbreviated MPP in English and in Mongolian. Founded in 1920, the party played an important role in the Mongolian Revolution of 1921. Following independence, it became the ruling party of one-party state Mongolia. In 1924 the party adopted the name Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party, when joining the Communist International. When in 1990 other parties became allowed, the MPP remained governing party until 1996, returning to government in 2000 to 2004. From 2004 to 2008 it was in a coalition government with Motherland Democracy Coalition of Democratic Party and Motherland Party. In 2008 to 2012 it opted for another coalition government with the Democratic Party, although the MPP had a majority in parliament at the time. After the 2012 elections, the MPP became the opposition party at the parliament. In 2010, the party reverted to its original name by dropping the word revolutionary, causing a breakaway faction which retained the long-standing name. History. Background. In 1911, Mongolia had declared its independence from the Qing dynasty after over 2 centuries of foreign rule. This new independence under the Bogd Khan did not last, not being recognized as independent by its 2 neighbors, only being granted autonomous status under Chinese rule. In 1919, Mongolia was invaded by the Chinese Beiyang government and in turn by White Russian forces in 1921. 1921 Revolution. During this occupation period, 2 groups, known as the Consular Hill and Iskare, formed as resistance movements. On June 25, 1920, these 2 groups united to form a Mongolian People's Party, and decided to send 7 representatives to the Soviet Russia. In August, they met with Soviet representatives in Irkutsk. On March 1, 1921, the party officially formed as a political party, claimed to be the first in Mongolia, in Kyakhta, and formed a provisional government. The conceptual foundation of the party was formulated as follows: the Mongolian People's Party will aim to eliminate all brutal enemies harmful to the state and the religion, to regain the lost rights, to vigorously enhance the state and the religion, to regard the deeds for the sake of poor and vulnerable people as the supreme mission, to uphold long-lasting nature of internal affairs, and to create a living free from dangers of being oppressed and oppressing others. On March 18, a Mongolian People's Army under Damdin Sukbator defeated Chinese forces and took Kyakhta. In May, the White Russian Baron Ungen took his forces north from Ikhkure and were defeated by joint-in Mongolian People's Army and Red Army forces. On June 25, 1921, the Mongolian People's Party issued a statement addressed to all Mongolians, which informed about its decision to liberate the capital through military force. The forces entered the capital in July 6 and finally declared independence on July 11, 1921. The party renamed itself the Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party in 1924 upon the advice of the Communist International. Armed uprising and purges. In 1928, Mongolian politics took a sharp leftward turn, beginning to adhere to communist ideology. HUDs were forcibly collectivized, private trade and transport forbidden, and monasteries and the nobility came under attack. With the now state-run trade and transport unable to function, it led to an economic breakdown with more than 7 million heads of livestock dead, and to widespread unrest and uprisings in 1932. The uprising was quelled in October 1932, after the Mongolian and Soviet armies, tanks and planes had been involved. The 1933, the first wave of purges began with the Hum affair, a manufactured conspiracy linking party secretary Jamban Hum with Japanese spying networks. Over 1,500 people were implicated in the purge, many of them being executed. The victims included Prime Minister Pelgidian Gendon, who was enthusiastic in the liberalized development of the economy. In 1936, Gendon was removed from power and executed in the USSR. Kologuyan Kwybalsan, a strong ally of Joseph Stalin, gained power. Between 1937 and 1939, a second wave of purges began, with 25,437 people officially arrested, of which 20,099 were executed. Some estimates place the number of victims from over 35,000 to 100,000. Of the implicated, over 18,000 were lamas, resulting in the virtual destruction of the Buddhist clergy. Between 1940 and 1955, purges were conducted against those who were complicit in the previous purges. During Kwybalsan's rule, considerable improvements in the country's infrastructure, roads and communication lines were made with Soviet assistance, and steps were taken toward improving the country's literacy rate. In December 1947, 11th Congress of the party was held, approving the first 5-year plan of the country with the objectives to intensify the development of the economy, industries, animal husbandry and agriculture through a series of stages. In 1952, Kologuyan Kwybalsan died, with Yalyajian Sidimbal gaining power. He successfully purged his political rivals, Dashian Damba in 1958-59, Daraman Tomorokia in 1962, Lovsan Seringianzand in 1963, and the so-called Lukharosnaya Samajav anti-party group in December 1964. His foreign policy was marked by efforts not only to bring Mongolia into ever closer cooperation with the USSR but also aggressive attempts to incorporate Mongolia into the Soviet Union. Sidimbul's attempts to bring Mongolia into Soviet Union and make it the 16th Republic of the Soviet Union met strong opposition from other patriotic politicians, and Sidimbal was accused of treachery. At the time of the Sino-Soviet split, Sidimbal decisively sided with the Soviet Union and incurred China's wrath. Sidimbal is remembered for successfully maintaining a path of moderate socialism during the Cold War. Achievements: after declaring country's independence in 1921, the country started to develop under MPP and People's Government's multifaceted progressive socio-economic policy. The special regulation to establish a public school was approved by People's Government on August 14, 1921, and the Ministry of Home Affairs set up a special department in charge of schools and enlightenment on August 31, 1921. On November 2, 1921, the first 3-year state-run school was established in capital city, which set the basis for literacy for all. The establishment of the Institute of Manuscripts on November 19, 1921, served as the beginning of scientific organizations of Mongolia. As national trade was considered to be vital to the revival of economy, the Mongolian Cooperative for Mutual Assistance was founded with 70 members. The circulation of the new national currency in 1925 marked the birth of Mongolia's banking and taxation system. Since 1925, carpet weaving, wood processing, iron smelting, brick and gypsum plants were established. The Nalake coal mine, power plant and the leather factory in Altan Bulag was expanded. Small-scale handcraft cooperatives met domestic demand for goods such as clothing. All these laid down the beginning of qualitative change in the economic system of Mongolia. Since the establishment of People's Government in 1921, the country abandoned its old court system, which had used harsh interrogation methods and corporal punishment, introducing a new penitentiary and re-education centers. With the view of fostering culture and arts in Mongolia, the People's Government established the Sukh-Bator Club in 1924, thus laying the foundations of national cultural and art organizations. In 1925, clubs were established in several provinces, while mobile redgurs were put into operation to promote culture and education among the general public, this enabling people to have access to books and newspapers, cinema, etc. On March 25, 1921, the People's Provisional Government issued a resolution to establish the unit to treat patients in the military facilities, which began providing free medical treatment to the military and civilians, thus beginning the modern health system in the country. In 1930, the People's Health Ministry was established and the state policies and activities on health started to be implemented. The first national radio broadcasting was aired on September 1, 1934. The establishment of the communications unit in the capital city in 1921 laid down the foundation for Mongolian communications. In 1925, a flight between Troitsk-Oseysk and Ulaanbaatar was launched, paving the way for Mongolian air forces and civil aviation. The establishment of the State Freight Unit in July 1925 laid down the foundation for automobile transportation. In 1940 to 1960, the Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party intensified its activities to develop the country by implementing a series of important projects with the view to reorganizing the agricultural sector into a system of cooperatives and gradually develop other sectors of the economy of strategic importance in planned method. The 11th Congress of the MPP, held in December 1947, approved the first 5-year plan of the country with the objectives to intensify the development of the economy, industries, animal husbandry and agriculture through series of stages. The decision of the Third Plenum of the Central Committee of MPP to cultivate untouched land enabled the country to produce wheat, which met nations' domestic needs. In the period between 1960 and 1990, the country consolidated its development basis by creating light industrial complex, laying the foundation for mining and heavy industries and establishing new industrial and urban centers throughout the country. 1990 Democratic Revolution. In August 1984, Yalyajian Sidenbal was forced into retirement in a Soviet-sponsored move, allegedly on the account of his old age and mental weakness. Jamban Batmonk took power in August 1984 as MPP leader as well as the country's leader. On the 10th of December 1989, the first open pro-democracy demonstration met in front of the Youth Cultural Center in Ulaanbaatar. In the subsequent months, the demonstration organizer activists founded Mongolian Ardchulsan Kolbu and continued to organize demonstrations, rallies, protests and hunger strikes, as well as teachers and workers' strikes calling for democracy both in the capital and the countryside, and had growing support from Mongolians all over the country. On March 7, 1990, in Sukh-Bator Square, Mongolian Democratic Union launched a hunger strike urging the communists to resign. The party's Politburo, the authority of the government, eventually gave way to the pressure and entered negotiations with the leaders of the democratic movement. Jamban Batmonk, chairman of Politburo of MPRP's Central Committee, decided to dissolve the Politburo and to resign on 9 March 1990. This paved the way for the first multi-party elections in Mongolia. Behind the scenes, however, the party had seriously considered cracking down on the protesters, writing a decree that was left to be signed by the party leader Jamban Batmunk. Batmunk opposed it, maintaining a strict policy of never using force. Those present later recalled that Batmunk said, "I will never sign this. We few Mongols have not yet come to the point that we will make each other's noses bleed," smacked the table, and left the room. In the elections of 1990, parties had run for 430 seats in the Great Khural. Opposition parties had been unable to nominate enough candidates. The MPRP won 357 seats in the Great Khural, won a majority in the Small Khural as well, winning 31 out of 53. Nonetheless, the new MPRP government under Dashian Byumbashuran shared power with the Democrats, and implemented constitutional and economic reforms, with the new constitution being adopted in 1992. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, which had until 1990 provided significant economic aid to Mongolia's state budget, the country experienced harsh economic problems. In the 1993 Mongolian presidential elections, the MPRP was defeated for the first time in its history, with the candidate backed by the Democratic parties, Punsalma Ayarokirbat, winning with 2/3 of the vote. In 1996 parliamentary elections, Democratic Union Coalition co-led by Sakirayar Elbagdorj as chairman of Democratic Party won. This time the Democrats won the legislative elections for the first time. In 2000, 2004, and 2008, the MPRP won the legislative elections and was the ruling party between these periods. It formed two coalition governments with Democratic Party in 2004 to 2008 and 2008 to 2012. In 2003, the party became a member of the Socialist International. The 2008 parliamentary elections were especially controversial, with the MPRP being accused of vote rigging. Protests against the results turned violent on the 1st of July, and ensued riot. Not enough measures to stop the riot or extinguish the fire were taken by the authorities. The scene of the riots was the MPRP headquarters, which was burnt out. Following the riots, a 5-day state of emergency was declared by President Namburin Angbayar, the first time in Mongolia. 5 people, all of them civilians, were killed during the state of emergency. 4 were shot, and 1 apparently died from carbon monoxide poisoning. The Mongolian Minister of Justice estimated 220 civilians and 108 service members were injured. With the situation tense, the MPRP decided to admit the Democratic Party into government, forming a coalition. With its headquarters burned, the MPRP tore down the building and built a new, much taller and bigger modern headquarters in its place, with subsidiary from the budget of the government run by the Mongolian People's Party and donations from its party members, and the building began to fully operate on the 26th of November 2011. In 2009 Mongolian presidential election, Democratic Party candidate Sakirayar Elbagdorj defeated MPRP candidate incumbent President Namburin Angbayar. In January 2012, Democratic Party made a decision to leave the coalition government before upcoming parliamentary elections in June. In 2012 parliamentary elections, Democratic Party defeated MPP and MPP became the opposition with 26 seats at the parliament. In 2012 local elections of the capital city, provinces, districts, MPP was defeated for the first time in the country's history. In 2013 Mongolian presidential election, Democratic Party candidate incumbent President Sakirayar Elbagdorj defeated the the MPP candidate. In 2016, the MPP came back into power, winning an 85% majority of the seats in Parliament. Prime Minister Chaim Tsekenbeleg and Parliament Chairman Zander Kuenk-Bold were unseated. The MPP's Jargalt Algar Erdenebat was elected to succeed Tsekenbeleg. Name restoration. The matter of restoring the name of the party to the Mongolian People's Party had been at the core of discussions among the party members and during the party congresses since 1990. In 2010, the matter of restoring the original name of the party was extensively deliberated at all levels of party organizations, resulting on 81.3% of all members fully supporting the restoration of the original name of Mongolian People's Party, and 10.7% of members reckoning to deliberate this matter during the 26th Party Congress. The decision to restore the original name of the party was approved by 99.3% of the delegates of the 26th Congress of the Mongolian People's Party. Another important decision made by 26th Congress was the reformulation of party's political ideology from democratic socialism to social democracy. After Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party restored its original name, Mongolian People's Party, Nambarin Enkbaya, former President of Mongolia and former MPRP chairman, established a new political party in 2010 and took the permission of using the name Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party for his new party from the Supreme Court of Mongolia on 24 June 2011. Ideology. In 1928, MPRP adopted communist ideology which stemmed from the Mongolia's special relations with the Soviet Union. From 1928 to 1943, MPRP was a member of the Communist International. In 1928 to 1956 period, Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party's communist doctrine was Stalinism, and later Marxism-Leninism. In 1987, MPRP upheld perestroika politics, initiating democratic reforms. The 1997 Party Congress formalized social democracy as ideological platform of MPRP. In 2003, the party achieved full membership in the Socialist International. The 26th Congress of the MPRP, held in November 2010, decided to restore its original name and officially re-registered its name as the Mongolian People's Party with the country's Supreme Court. The former leader of the party and Prime Minister Mr. Batbold ran against two contenders through the secret ballot and has won the overwhelming majority of votes. The Solidarity and Reforming 27 Congress was held in Ulaanbaatar on October 27–30, 2013. Representatives of the Congress restated that Mongolian People's Party has the center-left social democratic ideology, mission and values. The Mongolian People's Party is a political organization of willingly united individuals, which defines itself as a center-left political force, based on the social democratic ideals, respect for the national independence, freedom and core interests of the nation. The most treasured values of the party are esteem for national history, language and culture, preservation of national traditions, high morals, wisdom and humane feature of the people, respect for and guarantee the independence, sovereignty and solidarity of the nation. The Mongolian People's Party sets its mission as follows: decent work and equitable income for every citizen, adequate public health services for people, world-class knowledge and competitive education for all, healthy and safe living environment for the society, national economy which is capable to sustain the all of the above. The Mongolian People's Party believes that with the implementation of these integrated policies aimed at creating human-centered social welfare, pro-development economic growth, the nation and citizen-oriented public governance system, the country and its people will achieve prosperity and progress. Party emblem and flag. The emblem of the Mongolian People's Party, as the first political party in the country, was the driving force behind regaining the nation's independence in 1921, and therefore, the party's 26th Congress decided to incorporate the soyombo, the national symbol for independence, into its official emblem and the flag. The party emblem, adopted by the same Congress, includes golden-colored soyombo at the center of a five-pointed red rose, representing social democratic ideals. The flag of the Mongolian People's Party. The flag of the Mongolian People's Party is composed of equal-sized tricolor, red, symbolizing the Mongolian independence and national progress; white, symbolizing justice, solidarity and purity; blue, symbolizing eternal blue sky, representing the national statehood and prosperity. The emblem of the party is placed in the white central section of the flag. The Mongolian People's Party, a member of the Socialist International and as the center-left political force, has retained a red rose in its emblem. List of leaders: Solian Danzan 1921, Ajvajan Danzan 1922–1924, Siran Ochiran Dambadorj 1924–1928, Batochiran Eldafokir 1928–1930, Peljidian Jendan 1928–1932, Dorjavan Lovzancherev 1932–1937, Banzarjavan Basanjav 1936–1940, Yalyajian Sidenbal 1940–1954, 1958–1984, Dashyan Damba February 1940, April 1940, 1954–1958, Jamban Batmonk 1985–1990, Gombo Javanokia Bat 1991–1991, Budrag Charger and Dash Yondan 1991–1996, Natsajian Bagabandi February 1997 June 1997, Nambrinenk Bayar 1997–2005, Miragombanenk Bold 2005–2007, 2014 to present, Sanjay Ayar Baya 2007–2009, Suk Batorn Bat Bold 2010–2012, Altsiazai Kani Enktavshan 2012–2013. Election results.